Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for meeting me here at my old house. I'm Mary Todd Lincoln. Of course, I'm most well known for my famous husband, Abraham. I knew from the day I met him at the party at Springfield, Illinois, that he was going to become somebody. But I'm getting ahead of the story. Why don't you come with me to my garden and we can talk a little bit more about myself? That's better. Now, let's see. Oh, yes. I was born right here in Lexington on December 13th, 1818. That was during Kentucky's golden age. Lexington was enjoying prosperity, and Kentucky was known for its fine statesmen and lawyers. There was even a literary society right here in Lexington, and a planetarium. Daddy was a wealthy man, so I was spoiled. But not everything was easy. I was only 6 years old when my mom died. I was so sad, and did not care for my stepmom. She was very strict with me. Even Grandma Parker, my mom's mom, who lived next door back when we lived on Short Street, didn't care for her at all. Sometimes I would play pranks on her. Once, I even put salt in her coffee instead of sugar. Anyways, I did have some fun times back then. My cousin Lizzie always called me a tomboy. I loved playing pranks and was usually the one leading the way into mischief. My stepmother even started referring to me as a limb of Satan. Not to brag, but I am considered to be a smart woman. I started going to school when I was only 8 years old. Now, not a lot of women from my time can say that. Once I moved into this beautiful home behind me, I started attending boarding school and did quite well for myself. As I grew up, I always loved listening in on Daddy's political conversations. Sometimes I couldn't help myself and would throw in my own opinion. My goal was to marry a president one day. And after I finished school, I moved to Springfield, Illinois with my sister to live. It was the best days. I was a belle of the ball. I had a lot of beaux. The only problem was they always got intimidated by my quick wit and knowledge of politics. But that all changed when I met Abe. Like me, Abe was born in Kentucky. He was a little awkward, not too polished of a dancer, but I could tell he was a match for me. We could talk and laugh for hours about poetry and politics. I could tell all Abe needed was a little polish and coaching from me, and he could make it all the way to the White House. My parents weren't able to see the potential like I could, so our engagement was broken off for a while. But we were finally married on November 4th, 1842. I'm getting parched. Come with me and I can get a cup of tea inside. That's better. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, I had just gotten married. At that time, Abe was a lawyer and he had to travel quite a bit. I got scared being left alone. I got scared of burglars, barking dogs, and lightning. I grew up with slaves to help me with all the household chores, but found myself alone doing the cooking, cleaning, and even childcare. We sometimes got neighbor girls to help, but we didn't have a lot of money back then. Later, Abe got elected to Congress. I considered myself Abe's chief advisor during that time. I helped him with his speeches and gave him pointers. But I also spent time with my boys. We had elaborate birthday parties and let them have any pets they wanted. My only worry was for their health, and it turns out I was worried for a good reason. My precious son, Edward, became ill and died. I thought I'd never recover, but I eventually got through my grief. And in 1860, Abe won the presidency. I was so excited to move to the White House. It was finally my time to make a good impression on the most important people in society. I hired Elizabeth Keckley to be my dressmaker. She made me beautiful dresses, and she actually became a good friend of mine. My biggest goal as First Lady was to fix up the White House. I was appalled at the state of things. There was broken furniture, stained carpets, and even rats. People complained that I spent too much money, but I think that's ridiculous. I think the home of the President of the United States should be something the nation can be proud of. After I finished fixing the White House, I loved showing off and having parties to show off the work I had done. But one party stands out in mind as the worst one ever. My son Willie had come down with typhoid fever, and I had to keep leaving the party to go check on him upstairs. After he died, I was devastated. I couldn't get out of my bed for 3 weeks. Many mothers were also facing loss. There was men dying in the Civil War. Poor Abe aged before my very eyes as he tried to lead the nation through such a dark time. I eventually came through my grief by helping wounded soldiers in the hospital. I also traveled some with my husband during his re-election campaign, which I'm proud to say he won. One of the happiest memories of my life was the day that Abe rushed into the room to tell me the South had surrendered. The miserable war was finally over. Me and Abe decided together to work on being more cheerful. We were attending a play at Ford's Theater when I was holding Abe's hand when I heard a loud explosion right behind us. John Wilkes Booth had shot my husband. I wish he had shot me instead. It was many years before I could recover from all those tragedies. Those were dark days, but there's no need to trouble you all with that. I'll never regret standing by Abraham Lincoln's side. He was a man who made history, and I'm proud to say I have helped him do so. Thank you all for your kind attention.